Good evening, BookTube, YouTube. This is Johnny in the Hermit Hut. I made a video this morning. I can't remember. What was the video? Oh, it was Monday Reads was this morning. It's still Monday. It's March the 18th, 2024. It is 5:55 in the evening. And I thought I'd make a video because I'm alone. It's just me and the shadows. Yeah, I think my wife will be home tomorrow night around this time, but I'm not sure. I can't remember what time her plane comes in to Grand Rapids from Denver. So I thought what I make a video is around 3:30, I got this obsession. If you don't know it, but just about 3 blocks down from us is a Burger King. And years ago, now we've lived in this house going on 33, 34 years. And years ago, I would, at least once a month, I go down to the Burger King and get a hamburger and fries and a shake. But then I just stopped doing it because I just stopped doing it. I've told you, I'm not really into food. I find food boring. I'm not really into food. Maybe it's because I'm an American and I've been blessed so much that food in abundance. But anyway, I decided that instead of just nibbling, I haven't really been eating any meals for a long time, that I just would stop by and get a hamburger and some fries and a shake, which is really rare for me. Now, but right near the Burger King is Action House thrift store, which I've told you about. And I thought, well, before I go to Burger King, maybe there's some books at Action House. So there was 2 books I bought at Action House thrift store. And then I got a book in the mail today that I had. These are all used books. And then I thought I would just show them to you because they go to, as you know, I collect books, go into other books, other collections. And so that's what I'm going to do. As far as what I'm reading this afternoon in my exhausted, drained, blown out state, the Poet's Apprentice at the Jack Kerouac School Disembodied Poetics, Book 1, January to March 1980 by Randy Roark. So I've been looking at that. I watch stuff on BookTube. I watch the local news, see about the weather. The weather is going to be cold and dreary for the next 8 days. No sunshine. Tomorrow's the first day of spring, but it's going to be like winter until who knows. Writing in my diary, I ended on page, for the year 2024, page 252. Tomorrow is March the 19th. I already have a journal title. When I'm reading through my books, I'm looking for titles for my journal entries in Crooked Fingers, and I found one in reading The Poet's Apprentice, and this is the journal title for tomorrow. Writing is seen as conscious probe into different imaginative energies. Writing is seen as conscious probe into different imaginative energies. Making videos is seen as a conscious probe into different imaginative energies. So I don't know if I'll wake up tomorrow. You know, I might die in my sleep. The world might come to an end. Jesus might come on the clouds of glory. Like we were talking about clouds this morning. And after I finished that video, I remembered a verse about clouds. in it's in 2 Thessalonians, I think, if I remember correctly, about the clouds. Let's see if I can find it. Let me see here. Clouds, 2 Thessalonians. Oh, let's see here. I don't know if I can find it. I'm not really sure if I can find it. Maybe it wasn't on clouds. I was thinking of there in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. But I do not want you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning those who have fallen asleep, lest you sorrow as others who have no hope. For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so God will bring him with those who sleep in Jesus. For we say to you by the word of the Lord that we who are alive and remain until the coming of the Lord will by no means precede those who are asleep. For the Lord himself would descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. But we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together. Here's the verse. Yeah, it is. Then we who are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and thus we shall always be with the Lord. Therefore, comfort one another with these words. I think also when the Lord ascended into heaven, there was a cloud. Let me see. I think it's in first chapter of the book of Acts. Let me see if I can find it. No, it just says, chapter 1 of the Acts of the Apostles. Now when he had spoken these things, there is a word of a cloud. Verse 9 of chapter 1 of the book of Acts. Now when he had spoken these things, the Lord Jesus Christ, while they watched, he was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood by them in white apparel, and said, Men of Galilee, why do you stand gazing up into heaven? The same Jesus who was taken up from you into heaven will so come in like manner as you saw him go into heaven. So as he was taken up in a cloud, he'll come again the second time in a cloud. So those verses came to my mind after I made that video. So I went to Action House before I went to Burger King, and I found just 2 books, and one book came in the mail. Now what came in the mail, I'm on this Don Powell kick right now. I showed you this morning, I'm reading the Diaries of Don Powell, 1931 to 1965, edited by Tim Page, and then Tim Page wrote a biography on Don Powell by Tim Page. But I didn't, what I got in the mail, I didn't know that he also edited selected letters of Don Powell, 1913 to 1965, edited with introduction by Tim Page. So Tim Page edited selected letters of Don Powell. He wrote a biography on her, and he edited her diaries. I also thought I'd show you, now I've had these in my library for a long time. I have Don Powell. This is 3 novels of hers. The Angels of Toast, The Wicked Pavilion, and The Golden Spur by Don Powell. Introduction by Gore, Vidal. I've had this for a while. Then I had a novel by her, by Don Powell, The Happy Island by Don Powell. And then I bought these a couple of years ago in the Library of America. Don Powell novels from 1930 to 1942. Dance Night, Come Back to Cerrito, Turn, Magic Wheel, Angels on Toast, A Time to Be Born. And then there's her novels from 1944 to 1962. Her last novel was The Golden Spur, but she wrote My Home is Far Away, The Locusts Have No King, The Wicked Pavilion, and The Golden Spur. So yeah, I'm kind of a completist. So now I have her novels, I have her diaries, a biography, and now I have her letters and some more novels, The Happy Island by Don Powell, and then this, or 3 novels by her. So now that all goes into my Don Powell collection. And then, like I said, I went to Action House and I found this used travel writings by Eric Newby, Slowly Down the Yangtze River. This is travel writing. It says, this is the story of a 1,200 mile journey made by Eric Newby and his wife down the holy river of India from Hardor, where it enters the Great Plain, down to where the waters of the Hooghly finally flow into the Bay of Bengal. Well, I already had by Eric Newby, I've had this for many years, A Short Walk into Hindu Kush, another travel writing. I don't know if he wrote anything else, but I collect travel writings. Slowly Down the Ganges, Love and War in the Apennines, and A Traveler's Life. This is a preface by Evelyn Wan, this one here. So now I got 2 books by him. And then I found at Action House, Flannery O'Connor, her complete works. This is in perfect condition. I like these Library of America editions, and this was in perfect condition. It's not even written in, it's just, well, it is written in, there it is. It says here, Understanding Flannery O'Connor, Margaret Early Wit, 1985, biography. Oh, these are just books that somebody put in here to look up, a biography. Yeah, a minute ago, before I made this video, I said, what is a good biography on Flannery O'Connor? And here's one listed here in the page. It says, Flannery, A Life of Flannery O'Connor by Brad Gutch. I'm gonna look that up after I make this video, because in my wife gave me this book by Flannery O'Connor, a novel, A Good Man is Hard to Find, and Other Stories. She gave this to me. But I already had in my library the Flannery O'Connor, The Complete Stories by Flannery O'Connor. I've had this for years, have it by my bedside. And it says here, books by Flannery O'Connor, novels, Wise Blood, The Violent Bear, Get It Away. There, it's in here. And then she did a novel, Everything That Rises Must Converge, which is also in here. These are complete works, so it should be in here. And then I already had in my library, and this is why I want a biography of Flannery O'Connor. I have her letters, the letters of Flannery O'Connor, The Habit of Being, selected and edited by Sally Fitzgerald. Maybe she did a biography on her. There's a picture of her. She had maybe polio. I remember, I think she lived with her mother. I don't think she ever married, but from what little I remember about her life. But yeah, these are her letters of Flannery O'Connor, The Habit of Being, selected and edited by Sally Fitzgerald. So now I have her letters, Flannery O'Connor, her complete stories, and now I have her complete works. And then I have this paperback that my wife gave me of Flannery O'Connor. So yeah, so I have, these are just, like I told you, when I go to a used book sale or go to a thrift store, I look things to go with other books, other writers. Like that last video I showed you of when I went to Blue Stockings, I showed you novels by writers that I collect. So now I have 2 travel writings by Eric Newby. I'm gonna look up on the Amazon after the video his book, The Traveler's Life. I gotta look that. I like biographies. So that's what's going on here. It was a very kind of, like I said, I'm just kind of exhausted, drained, beat. I think maybe I'm just kind of depressed because my wife's not here. I'm not sleeping well since this time change. I get up too early. Maybe I stay up too late. I don't know. So yeah, I've been reading the poet's Apprentice, watching videos, YouTube, BookTube. And sometimes I just sit in the dark. But yeah, I will read tonight. I will look at her letters, the selected letters of Don Powell, and I will be reading the biography of Don Powell tonight, and I will be reading from her Diaries by Don Powell. I don't know if I'll get into any reading. I did look at her novel, The Locusts Have No King, but I don't think I have the mental space, the brain space to put another novel in my head. I still got to finish those novels on my to-be-read pile that I showed you a couple weeks ago. I don't want to start any kind of novels. Now I'll read diaries and letters and essays and memoirs, but getting into another novel right now. Now I can read a biography. I read these before I go to bed, and I'll look at her letters. Because she mentions in her diaries, she writing letters. She wrote over 1,000 letters. And so I'm kind of curious about her letters. So yeah. So tomorrow is the Tuesday. My wife gets back. I see my psychologist. I was thinking before I made this video, what would I talk about with my psychologist, Jim? And I thought about exploring this whole idea of when my wife's away, she's been away just a week, but how I often think to myself, I'm 71 years old, and my wife she knows a number of women in her church who are widows who've lost their husbands. Now, their husbands lived in their 80s and 90s, and I'm just in my early 70s. And then you have men in her church who are widowers who've lost their wives. And so when I get my age, when we get our age, Carol and I, we often talk about what will life be when one of us is gone and gone to heaven. So when my wife is gone, I think about when I wake up in the morning and I come upstairs and she's not sitting in the chair reading the Bible. My wife she's always singing or talking or listening to something. I enjoy being with my wife. She's my friend. We've been married going on 45 years. And I think to myself, what would life be without her? Because I don't have any friends. I don't have any church family. I have my oldest son and his family, my granddaughters, down the street. but I don't have anybody else. Now I have a guy here in town named Tim, an older fellow like me, that I call once in a while. He's kind of a loner type too. But basically, and this has been a pattern of my life. I've always been a loner. Like before I got married to Carol, I always had girlfriends. I always had women friends since I was, 17 years old. And so I always had a woman in my life. But there was always a wall around me. I always, I was really kind of aloof, I had this wall. Maybe it was protection because when I was growing up and losing my mother when I was 16 and feeling abandoned and deserted, that I just put this wall around me that so I wouldn't get hurt, or it was protection or something. But the only person I've really been myself with, a complete self with, is my wife. With her, you can be around certain people that are not going to judge you or condemn you or attack you or be critical of you or put you down, that you can feel free to be yourself and to express yourself and to let all the walls come down. That's what you have a wife or a husband or a partner or a friend, or maybe you've been close to your parents, or maybe you have a close sister or brother or some high school friend or college friend. I've always just had my wife Now, in these videos, I'm always real. I speak from my heart. I'm not fake. I try to be honest. And if you're a Christian, you should be transparent. You should be able to speak the truth in love and not be a hypocrite or speak deceitfully or lie or pretend to be something that you're not. That's one thing about my wife I've always loved about her. When you see my wife, that's who she is. She's totally transparent. There's nothing, what you see is what she is, and that's what I want to be too. What you see is what I am. And there's nothing that is hidden. There's nothing that I'm covering up or pretending or whatever, putting a mask on. And that's one reason why I couldn't go into the ministry, because I never could stop not being real. I never could be professional. I never could just play a role or be, I just had to always be me, no matter what state of being I was in, depressed, happy, in a black mood, in a happy mood, or whatever was on my head or on my heart. I just let it all hang out. Well, you can't. And over the years, like I've said, as I've gotten older, I've become more constrained, more reserved, or more withdrawn, cut myself off, or because, hey, why? But in my videos, here I am. So I thought I'd show you, I got this book today at Action House, Slowly Down the Angies by Eric Newby, travel writing. I picked up the collected works of Flanner O'Connor, and I got in the mail selected letters of Don Powell from 1913 to 1965, edited by Tim Page. And I'm just waiting for my wife to come home and for life to get back to normal. So I hope you're having a good reading week, a good Monday, a good weekend, a good week. And I'll sign off. My hat got crooked. So anyway, I'll sign off. And until next time, bye.